There's mounting evidence of a concerted plot against Peter Slipper in the form of hundreds of pages of fresh evidence filed with the federal court based on emails and text messages between the key players. There have always been questions about whether the claims by Mr Slipper's accuser, James Ashby, were politically motivated. That's the basis of Peter Slipper's defence in a case that could have serious repercussions for the federal parliament. Here's Hayden Cooper.
His rise to power was sudden, shocking, and an act of gross disloyalty in the eyes of his Liberal colleagues. Peter Slipper became Labor's Speaker, bolstering their numbers in a knife-edge parliament. But in hiring James Ashby as an advisor, the scene was set for a scandal. And by April this year, it exploded when Ashby went to court to accuse his boss of sexual harassment.
All allegations have been denied, and I'll be making a statement.
But is this all an elaborate plot to bring down a speaker and a government? Now in the federal court, hundreds of pages of evidence, emails and text messages that reveal a web of planning and prior knowledge by key political figures. The two Slipper staffers, James Ashby and Karen Doan, were in frequent contact with several players before the case blew up. The first is Mal Brough, former federal minister, archenemy of Peter Slipper, rival for his seat. Karen Doan was seeking his help to line up a job with the new Queensland government or with the mining magnate Clive Palmer.
Hello Mal, please find attached my resume for consideration by Mr Palmer for a position at the Coolum Golf and Spa Resort. Kind regards, Karen.
Mr Brough also met with James Ashby and had many contacts via text and email. He told him to get a lawyer, a point he's acknowledged publicly.
He asked me for some advice on technical issues around legalities, about whether he was actually required under the law, if he thought a crime had been committed, to report it.
But the documents show his involvement went much further. Mal Brough was in touch with all the key personalities and wanted to be kept informed.
Hi Mal, today went reasonably well, and I believe James understood he needs to follow the legal advice to have all his facts cited and deposition taken before it goes to press. Cheers, Karen.
Karen Doan was grateful for his advice.
Thank you again for your time and guidance the past few weeks.
But it's the effort to expose Mr Slipper's travel records that's one of the most intriguing aspects of the new evidence. Ashby and Doan secretly accessed their boss's diary.
Hey Karen, would you be able to photograph with your iPhone and message the following dates to me?
The diary extracts were sent to the journalist Steve Lewis and to Mal Brough. He replied,
"Can that be emailed, James? It is hard to read."
The next figure to emerge is the Queensland Government Minister Mark McArdle. He too appeared to have inside knowledge of the Ashby complaint before it went public. He promised to keep it to himself, and Ashby kept him in the loop.
I've decided to press ahead with what I spoke to you about some weeks ago. It's going to be the biggest challenge of my life, but this man needs stopping. He's hurt too many people. I appreciate your comments about not doing it, but I have the strength to go through with it, and regardless of the outcome, I'll know I've done the right thing.
Mark McArdle won't comment. His boss in Brisbane will.
You know, he knows Ashby, as I understand it. People talk to me all the time. People talk to him as a local member. You know, there's nothing sinister about that. If someone has something that says that he's done something improper, then let them come forward, but they haven't. And that's why I say I'm not concerned. Not concerned at all. Yeah.
Then there's Clive Palmer, the Queensland LNP figure also named in the documents. He denies any knowledge of receiving Karen Doan's resume, and he's always maintained he had no involvement in the case.
Well, all I'd heard about was rumours, right? That these sort of things had happened. That's all I'd heard about. Yeah? I can't remember who from, but I just heard rumours that they'd happened. I certainly wasn't aware that he was going to file charges with anybody.
The government's case is clear. This is a well-coordinated conspiracy with obvious political motivations. Peter Slipper's lawyers cite specific text messages to bolster the case, like Karen Doan's message to Ashby about how he secured the services of a lawyer with no upfront cost.
It is also due to the barrister's ties to the LNP and the way this will tip the government to Mal's and the LNP's advantage.
And this message from Ashby to another contact.
One day I'll ask you to don a shirt that says "Vote 1 Ashby."
For now, Peter Slipper is a speaker in name only, reduced to official duties like welcoming foreign dignitaries. But will he return to the Speaker's chair? This glimpse into the political manoeuvring behind the harassment case may raise doubts about James Ashby's motivation. Whether it really was a conspiracy is up to the court to decide.
Hayden Cooper and producer Nikki Tugwell with that report.